What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Muscle, and this is another Two Line Music Cuts Entertainment Report podcast. And today we have a really special guest in the building. Listen, this is a record producer, a musician, an A&R for VP Records, artist management. Listen, he comes from a royal family in the reggae music. You know, we have today, we have SHAMS, a producer, in the building. What's going on, big boss?
Damn. Much respect, man. Give thanks for having me. Give thanks, you know.
Thank you so very much for joining us here today.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure, man. You've been doing a lot of good things, you know, so you know, we feel good to be a part of it.
Thank you so very much. Because when it comes to somebody like you, when it comes to your name, your last name holds a lot of weight. It's a heavy in the industry. So let's go through this here and see how we could figure out what's going on with that there. All right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then we usually always start off like this. Ask you, what part of Jamaica did you grow up in, and what actually attracted you to music?
Wow. Well, I grew up in Kingston, Jamaica, like off Mannings Hill Road, which is not uptown, but it's not downtown. So a kind of midtown type of situation. So Kingston, you know, Havendale, off Mannings Hill Road. And me and my brother, twins, you know. And what attracted me to the music business really is the family. It is a family, I don't want to say it's a family tradition, but growing up seeing your dad and uncles in the music, something about it just attracted me and my brother. Because as I said, we're twins, so, you know, we're two peas in a pod.
I hear you. And what was the first thing you remember either hearing, seeing your family doing something that you sticks out in your mind when it comes to music? All
right. Well, when we were, I can't even tell you age, you know, but we're in prep school them time that we attended Meadowbrook Prep. Mm-hmm. And from about them time that me and my brother, we used to see my dad and his brothers rehearsing, because sometimes my mom and dad are separated. So we used to go spend time down daddy. Mm-hmm. And we used to see them move out everything in the living room and set up the full band. So, you know, bass, drum, keyboard, guitar, everything, mic, everything. And they were rehearsing in the living room. So that to me was, you know, what sparked the interest to say, yo, this bad, and them make music, and it just nice, and it just sound good. So I think, you know, that's where it started. I don't remember a point before that, but I just remember those days of being at my dad's house and seeing them set up and doing them rehearsals and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then, you know, I didn't even mention the name. We're talking about the Brownies here. Okay, okay. Tell the people who the Brownies are and what roles you guys actually play in music.
Okay, all right then. Well, you don't know, I have to big up the dads, my father, Glenn Brownie, bass player extraordinaire. You know, currently he's Taurus Riley's bass player, but he has worked with, I think I hear him say that the first major gigger artist that he worked with was Jimmy Cliff. You know, okay. So I remember him touring with Jimmy Cliff when I was in prep school. So Jimmy Cliff, Ziggy Marley and the Melody Makers, Luciano, these are artists that he toured with, you know, for years. And then now he's with Taurus Riley. And outside of that, he's worked with many bands in Jamaica, even some of the big bands like with Cedric Brooks and those individuals. So, you know, because he's a well-rounded musician, he doesn't just play reggae. So he's the eldest of the five, right? And then following him now would be Uncle Dalton, you know, rest in peace, because he passed recently. So Uncle Dalton now is the second. And he was Freddie McGregor's musical director for many years. Big Ship, many years. And so that is Uncle Dalton. Then after Dalton is Uncle Noel, which played keyboard in Brownie Bunch. And also Uncle Noel worked with Big Ship as well, with Freddie McGregor. And then after Uncle Noel is Uncle Clevie, which is Clevie from Steely and Clevie, which sadly I just learned that, and I say sadly because I'm in the family over 40 years now, and I just realized that his Uncle Dalton actually make Steely and Clevie, like he put a keyboard in a Steely hand. That was a story that I heard recently at his memorial. You know, so after Dalton, Noel, Clevie from Steely and Clevie, and then Danny Brown now, which is my mentor in engineering and production. He's the wash belly. Him and the last one, Uncle Danny. So you know Danny Brown, the Main Street Crew, you know, Red Rat, Goofy, Archive, Buccaneer, Degree, all of them. And even prior to that was Bloodfire Posse, which was, you know, very, very successful in the 80s, I believe. Yeah.
Listen, with a legacy like that around you, there's no wonder you're in music. You had no choice but to get into music. None.
Yeah. I believe I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. Even though, but again, once you're in the field, there's many different aspects you could go around and take and do all of that. But it was almost like guaranteed you're going to be doing something in music some way, somehow.
Yeah.
So I know, okay, so then now you started out your musical journey now. What did you start out doing at first?
Started out having a little band when we were leaving prep school, going to high school. My brother and I had a band, which ironically, Red Rat and his brother were like close to us because we went to the same prep school. And at one point, his dad has their father migrated, so they were living by us. You know, so and from even before they were living with us, Red Rat's eldest brother, Troy, which even to the day, me and him still link. Troy played drum from back then, from high school days. And he was the one that used to always say, "Oh, we're not jam," because he knew that I play bass and my brother play guitar or whatever. So he was like, "Yo, come and jam, no, come and jam." So they used to come over to our house and we do the same thing that we grew up seeing with my dad and his brothers. We'll move out everything out of the living room or the dining room and set up with drums and stuff. And then we'll do a little jam session there. Mm-hmm. So that was like from, you know, grade 6 in prep school, going to high school, we'd have a little band doing, you know, jam sessions and stuff. And then because of Troy now, we started doing 1 and 2 graduations at Meadowbrook High because him and Red Rat went to Meadowbrook High. So we did must be 2 hours of graduation at Meadowbrook High, and then also our band played for, you know, prep school had a little pantomime thing going on, so we were the band that provided the music for them back then. So those were the first moments of actually playing, you know, as a collective and for an audience.
And what year are we speaking about here?
Yeah, try to show me age now, mostly. A joke. So I started high school 88. So it would have been about 88, 89. So anywhere between 87 and 89, that was, you know, where all of that started.
With all the band and stuff. And how long did the band last for there?
The band name at the time was Positive Crew, and it had transitioned to just Crew after a while. And the band, we had the band up until about maybe 94, 93, when, you know, we got old, and then I think Troy was the first one that had to leave because he migrated. He left Jamaica. And then my brother, no, Robert, had started, this is about 98 now, when my brother started playing for Julian Marley. Yeah, so he started playing guitar. He's currently Shaggy's guitarist, but he started playing for Julian Marley. But I met who first? I know he worked with Bujo, and I know he worked with Julian. So I think it's Julian first, then Bujo. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so the band kind of fizzled out at that point, and then I started we graduated high school in 93. And then that was when we were still doing 1 and 2 little gigs as Crew, the band. But then by 95, Troy had left thereabout, and then 96, 97, now Robert had started playing with the other band them. Something like that. I may be wrong, but close.
somewhere in between. Yeah, I'm not going to hold you to it 100%.
Well, I don't cut it, but what I should say is my first gig overseas outside of Jamaica was with a band that Robert and Troy was with. That they had done some shows with Dan Carlos and Dennis Brown and Big Youth, and they were going to Guyana, and the bass player, which was Stone couldn't make it at the time, and so they say, yeah, make Richard come, and I was the one that filled in, and we actually played for Dan Carlos and a couple of artists in Guyana. So, and this was maybe 96, I think.
This is why I'm telling you, your journey into the business was super fast track. Because look at these names that you're just rolling off. Okay, yeah, I was just bonjour.
Yeah,
Nothing. And I mean, it's not like you started, you had to wait at the studio door. No, but I guess
yeah.
that's what, but it's a double-edged sword where having this big name gets you into places, but you still got to prove yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
can't just live off of the name. You have to have some talent behind it. And also, I think we always say, my brother Lenky always said, Lenky Marsden, he always say, it's not usually how good you are, but how well you fit in. Because there are people that excellent musicians, but they have bad attitude. Nobody know how to work with them. So it's not how good they are, as how well you fit in. And the Brownies have this, what would you call it now? We are known in the business as we are very cool to deal with. You know, no attitude, no con artist business. You know, we're always, you know, filled with integrity and stuff like that. So I think it's a given.
Makes sense. Why did you decide to go with Shams opposed to like Richard Brownie, which is the name that, okay, gets you through the door even faster?
That name actually got stuck on me because, all right, in 93 now, when we graduated high school, you know, I had already decided that I'm not interested in going to college. And, you know, because music I want to do. And in my last year of high school, Uncle Danny had just finished building Main Street Studio. So even after school sometime, I used to leave school and just go down to the studio to hang out. And I just love it. The first time I walked in and saw him with his little 16-track analog mixing board, and I was like, yo, I want to do that. Me want to do that. So that was when even the studio was over where they grew up, in the house that we used to see them rehearse. So that was like 92, I saw that. So 93 now when we graduated, the Main Street did finish bill, and they have the 36 channel console, big tanners and all of that. And I'm like, yeah, man, this is what I want to do. And then growing up, because Danny was the youngest, he was like the cool one to me. So I always idolized man, look up to him. So I was always like, you know, that's what I want to do. So from even during CXC time, you know, exam done, me there studio, you know. So when exam and all of that finish and graduate now, I'm at studio every day as an apprentice learning engineering. So this is a 93, 94 now. So Anthony Redrose used to do a lot of sessions around the Main Street because that's where 11:45 of Bag Juice and Bass and them reading there and sang them voice. And I was the apprentice engineer at the time. I took a lot of those vocals with Anthony Redrose and Theme Crew. At them time it was Flower and Daddy Lizard. All of them man I used to power with Rose at the time. So Redrose is the one that stuck that name on me. All of that to say this. So one day Redrose walking at the studio and say, you know, him full of joke, but him love give joke and him love, you know, tease people and stuff like that. So he walks in the studio one day and he look at everybody and say, yo, what him favor to you? What him look like? And then I say, what him say? He don't look like the little reindeer upon the baby sham buckle. You remember the little champagne buckle them? Baby sham it did name.
Yes.
Him say, yo, look on him face. He don't look like little reindeer. A baby sham you for name, man. And from that day, muscle, they Baby Sham straight. Every time Red Rose come to studio, he go, Baby Sham. So when they book studio time, they say, oh, make sure it's a Baby Sham, I'm an engineer today. So, and that's how now my uncle Danny and the staff at Main Street start calling me that too. So the name just stuck. And then I decided that because the artist Baby Sham did just on the come up to, and I say, oh, I don't want to be associated, I don't want nobody mix me and him. So I just say, no, I'll take off the baby and just Shams. And then even change the spelling, I decided to use a S on it. So that, you know, it differentiate from him, Sham. So that's where the name comes from.
Yeah, that's a wild way of getting your name.
I tell you.
Wow. Okay, so then you said, okay, going to Main Street. This is like 92, 93. What type of artists were you actually see at Main Street at this time here?
All right. Well, me just starting out at Main Street. Danny artist them was Lieutenant Stitchy, Papa San. Well, Degree has always been there. Lady G was there. Who else? Junior Tucker, Richie Stevens. Yeah, I think pretty much those were the artists. Like just that. This is like late '93. So yeah, late '93, '94. Those stick out more to me. Stitchy, San, Junior Tucker, Degree, as I said. And they used to have a couple man from the area that used to pass through to like Patakat, them they shoot him up one at a time. But yeah, yeah, Degree, San and Stitchy them.
Okay, so then at this time here, the phase 2 of Main Street didn't come along yet, as in the Red Rats, the Goofies, the Buccaneers, and all of that. Not yet.
No, but Rat used to pass through to, because when he left, he used to leave because he went to Meadowbrook, so he used to just leave school sometime and come hang out at the studio as well. Right in that time. So he was always, but he didn't start. Danny never started recording him till like 95, 96. And that is when Main Street did actually bust,
And because you were taking vocals, you said, for Anthony Red Rose and stuff like that. Were you actually doing work for Main Street also, or you were just in the studio learning everything going on?
Well, I was learning everything, and Danny is pretty much a control freak. So he will take his own vocals, and at that time he would have mixed all his songs himself. Up until, I think, Fudgy was the first Main Street. I shouldn't say Fudgy, I should say Shelly, because yeah, there's a debate over Fudgy and the mixing. But anyway,
we're going to get into that.
That rhythm name, Scandal Rhythm, was the first rhythm I remember mixing for Main Street that did well. Or the first rhythm I recall mixing for Main Street. However, again, Danny being a control freak, which is understandable, because I'm like that too, to an extent. Him play the rhythm them, and he knows how he wants it to be mixed. So I would balance the rhythm and stuff and the vocals and stuff, and then he would come in at the last. I probably take a one take to tape to that tape, and he will come in after and then tweak it a little bit how he wants it, and then he runs most of the mixes. So I would start the balance and then he'd come and tweak after.
Then finish it off. That makes sense. So then now you're doing all this stuff under Main Street. When did you actually start to produce some of your own stuff? Now, how did that come along?
Okay, well, I want to tell you, sir, prior to me starting production, we used to do stuff with my dad, because my dad produces also. And how it was that, because my brother actually originally started with playing drums, so he had a drum machine and all of that. So when we used to mess around with even Urban, because Urban had recorded a couple songs, he was the one programming all the drums. So I have a thing where if that is your lane, that is your lane. I'm not going to mess with you. I play bass and I play the keyboard, so I'll do those. Robert to play the drums and the guitars and whatever. But so when at one point now Main Street wanted to start distributing their own records instead of making Penthouse distribute our dynamic sounds. So the game of distribution is quantity. So then he had a lot of songs on tape that weren't released and whatever, and him say, "Oh, we just build some rhythm for them song there and make them song there." So we started doing that because Robert started working at Main Street as Danny's assistant. He used to vet the artists, them, put rhythms on cassettes and send them go to demo. And then when them bringing them demo, Robert listened to them and stuff. So Robert and I were there, and Danny said, "Build some rhythm for them song and whatever." I mean, he never really liked them, but that is where we started as a production team, myself and my brother. Mm-hmm. So when that was going on, I was like, yeah, all right, Robert played the drums and I'll play bass and keyboards. Anyway, at one point, I don't remember even what happened, but I just decided to say, you know what, because Robert had been on tour and whatever, and Danny started doing most of his stuff. This is when Main Street kind of up on a level now, because my first rhythm was 97. So this is after Main Street crew bust out and all of this. I'm going to say, you know what, I got to just build a rhythm and see what happened. So this is like late 96, early 97. And that was it. My first rhythm was one named Chinatown, and the second rhythm was Gypsy. Chinatown ended up on Mr. G's album with him and Beenie Man, a song named Dark Glass. And then the other rhythm named Gypsy was the second rhythm, which was my first real release, because that was my first juggling,
And who was on the Gypsy at this time here?
Gypsy, the first release was Degree, TOK, Red Rat, Chico. I think Hawkeye was on the first cut too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, those that I can remember off the top of my head was 5. And Troy, the drummer, we call him Drum Rat or Troy Genius. But he even did start DJ too. He came back to Jamaica by then and he wanted to pursue a career. Because really and truly, is Troy why Red Rat started DJing. Because when they used to live with me up at my house, he was a big Professor Nuts fan. So he used to DJ like he used to have all of the cassette them from Professor Nuts, and he used to DJ like Nuts and thing. And then they bring Rat in it as a little brother now, and them used to do barbecues and stuff at Meadowbrook as, I don't know if you know Ghost and Culture. Remember when Ghost and Culture was around? All right. Mm-hmm. So them used to do the Ghost and Culture set. Right, so Rat used to be Ghost with the fine voice, and then Troy used to be Culture. Then used to do Ghost and Culture set at school, lunchtime, and them something there. So anyway, so fast forward to 97 now. So Troy came back and decided to say he wanted to, DJ and stuff. So he voiced on the rhythm as well. And this is either before or in between, because Troy was playing drums for Baby Sham them and Bounty Killer, and he was in a backing band named Mob. So that is, he did a lot of that.
Yes, I remember my big band that time.
Yeah, man.
Big band. Okay, and how did the rhythm do for you at that time there too?
Gypsy being the first rhythm, for me, I was just happy to hear it on the radio. Because them time that I was just making music for the fun of it, like, yo, this is what I want to do, and artists them voice me, and I was just so happy. First time I hear it on the radio, I was like, yo, you heard it there play, and yeah. So it wasn't a big seller or whatever. It played on the radio a couple times, but it is what it is.
I hear you 100%. And even you mentioned that TOK was on the rhythm. What was it like when you first met TOK?
It was nothing I've ever heard of before. Since, let me tell you the TOK story then, since you asked like this. Mm-hmm. I remember because, all right, where Main Street is, Uncle Danny used to live in the house. So before he moved, he built the studio on the house. So the studio is to the back of the house, right? So, all right. So Uncle Danny moved, and Mellow Canary song, which is Squeeze from Mellow Canary, he rented the house, for keep him sound system. So them use a voice dub and all of them thing there over the house every day. So sometimes I'll be walking in and out and I'll hear this harmony. I come out like them, I play back some dub and I hear it and I say, oh, that sound good. Yeah. Like I wasn't even going to ask them, because I never really got into the house like that. But me hear it and I say, oh, that sounds so unique, like different and bad, but no, I squeeze them and do them thing. Me not care. Me I do my thing. I'm in the studio at daytime or whatever. So I wasn't paying it any mind. So anyway, my brother now made this rhythm cassette for artists that want to voice for Main Street. So similarly, we said the process is you take the rhythm, go write a song, come back and audition. So that was the process. The night I see them 4 youth are walking. Honestly, I can't remember them before that. I'm sure that I saw them before that, but I don't remember seeing them after that. Anyway, them come to the studio the night now, and them say them come to see Danny. So I'm like, oh, Danny busy or whatever. I say, oh, come for auditions. So I say, hey, come. So like them put in the rhythm or whatever, and the rhythm start play. Them say them write a song for the rhythm, and the rhythm start play. So I say, oh, I know Danny rhythm that. That's my rhythm. Then one of them say, okay. So we say, let me hear one have. Muscle, when the man them open them mouth, I couldn't believe it. Trust me, never hear nothing like that yet. When the man, and one thing respect with them and love is like a lot of young artists, when them come for audition, them were there and them a sing them song and yeah, me go down the street and like them a talk to them friend. But when we say audition and go so and press play upon the tape and TOK is like a stage show, the man them there when them open them mouth and them a DJ, them a project and a bass voice there, and then Craig and Basie are sing octaves. Me never hear that yet on a record. I know. Me say, no, this bad. This bad. So from there, so it's like me I say, no man, we don't have to come Vice. And even then, you know, there were other man, but I done it. We were Vice. But
of course, because he's the big producer.
He was a big man, yeah. And I was grateful that them did love my rhythm so much though, because when me and them I taught them, I say, yo, they were in the car listening to the rhythm, and when Gypsy came on, when them hear the flutes on, everybody stopping at the car, and I say, yo, what that? Yo, that bad. So it's like that within itself and the youth vibe, you know, it just work out.
And then you guys started to link from there. Okay, so then now have the Gypsy rhythm, you're linking with TOK. What was the next rhythm that you had put out, or what was the next move right there?
Baddis was the next rhythm. I think I just started working on that one right after Gypsy. So Baddis was the next rhythm. And from then, TOK and I, you know, them used to come at the studio, them the voice on heavy metal for Danny. And I think them the voice on a couple of things for Richard Stevens too at the time.
Hold on. Don't move so fast, because we have to dig into this legendary Baddis Riddim. I got questions about that.
Yeah, man. So Baddis Riddim now was my second official release. And the label name at the time, even for Gypsy Riddim, was High Profile. And that idea, the name for that label came from Danny. Danny said, yeah, man, High Profile, man, that name that we could run with it. So I'm just say, all right, I'm my boss, you know, I'm my uncle, I'm my mentor, him's High Profile, so I'm going to run with it. Anyway, so Baddis Riddim was the second rhythm. I just go into the studio and just find some sound I like and just build the rhythm, and it just sound bad to me in the studio at the time. And usually when I make tracks, beats, I try not to make it sound too much like what is happening on the street. You know, Gypsy did have a similar vibe, but no other rhythm never have that flutes up that play like that. And similarly to Baddis, it did just unique at the time. Because when it dropped, there was hardly any other rhythm out there that sounded like it at the time. So, yeah, someone built Baddis, and t.o.k, I think, was the first artist of Vice, because I'm my artist then. And I was trying to build my little crew, so it was t.o.k and Chico. I wanted to manage Chico at the time also. Because when I tell t.o.k, say, you know, manage you, man, because, you know, you think I really, them did kind of hesitant. So, you know. But yeah, so Baddis Riddim, so it was t.o.k, Chico first had Vice, and I think Hawkeye did Vice, to then Red Rat. Degree had 2 songs on it, because him did the one song for him album, which was Miss Gatti, and then he did bag of things, was like, yo, Degree, me don't know where you find that song there, but I the baddest. Yeah, man, and I think at the time too, who else? The t.o.k Ladies Are track now was, I think t.o.k they want to do a collab with, you know, somebody, and me just want to show them, say, yo, well, work, you know. And me don't know, I think that was the first song Saw did for me. But me just reach out to her, and she just link, and we sit down in the studio and build a vibe, and it just work.
Just like that. And again, now that you have a different set of artists, because now you're bringing in artists. The t.o.k wasn't really part of the Main Street. They wanted to get to Main Street,
right?
But they're not that Main Street. Chico's not a part of Main Street either. Right. Neither is Lady Saw. And who else was outside of that Main Street camp that you had to go out for yourself to go find?
Well, I want to tell you, Goofy brought Beenie. Beenie, man, because I didn't know Beenie from anywhere. I never have a link with him like that. And at that time, even now to some extent, I'm just studio home. I don't really hang out at them kind of things there. So Goofy brought in Beenie, and I'm trying to remember who was on the first batch, because I think I released 2 batches of the rhythm.
Okay.
So outside of Main Street crew, it was Beenie, man, at that time.
What was it like voicing? And this is your first time voicing?
First time, yeah, man.
What was that like to actually come up with the hit that you guys came up with? What was that like?
I Remember, say Beenie hot, and this is a thing I've noticed with most of the hot artists. Them, you can pretty much do anything, and your fans them with you. Luckily, that song wasn't just anything. That song, there was a bad song. Moschino, a number one. I want to check it out as Kartel name, bro. So it's like the song just worked on the rhythm, you know. And props to Goofy, give thanks to Goofy because of him bring Beenie Man come. I think in the voice, I don't remember if he voiced the 2 songs that day, the one for Goofy album, because I did have Chinatown Rhythm ready, and then in the device, this one. And I want to tell you at one point, you know, being a voice, and me being a producer, I say, yeah, fix this or go back this or, you know, I'm trying to direct the session and being a listen, but it's being a man and me this little youth. So he's like, all right, me come back tomorrow, come do it. And when he take off him headphone, Goof say, Shams, make him come out and just make him come out. So I say, no, DJ, stay, do your thing. And he went up to stay because would I lose it at that point, you know. And it turned out to say that song was a number 1 song for Beenie. And me and him good up to the day because I do a song with him last year too. From my last rhythm.
I remember at one time when Baddis Riddim came out, it was tearing down the place. But then actually a lot of songs were playing the 45s. But then when it came to like dubs now, it was definitely tearing down the place. I remember songs like Bass Odyssey playing it. But their version of the rhythm sounded slightly different. Why does dubs version sound different than the actual 45 version?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I know that some like for instance, Baddis, maybe the reason for that is Baddis Riddim. I don't recall doing a B-side for that because my flip side, I was talking over it. So maybe the dub version was them chop it up, like them sample pieces of it and break it up together. Because I don't remember at all doing a straight version B-side for that record. Because at the time I was thinking, I don't want a man take my rhythm and go do what they want to do with it. So that was the catch back then. I was following Dave Kelly, because Dave Kelly used to do that. He never used to make him instrumental and go road, none at all. So I say, you know, I'm going to do that too. Because I kind of idolize Dave and Tony for that. All right, Danny, my uncle and a bad producer. But the difference between Danny and Tony and even my production is Danny was more focused on commercial stuff. He might make records for radio and, you know, that type of people. And so you wouldn't find it strange to him turn Christian because he might try to please a particular audience at the time. So he not do certain things. Even before him turn Christian, he not doing certain things. He not do certain songs. So that's where I differ now, where me love, because when I was going to high school, I used to tell my mother, I said, I'm going to sat the class. And we're going to sat the class. This is like in my last year. We're going to sat the class. I never lie about that. But we leave sat the class and go skateland. So I was introduced to dancehall and that kind of environment. That skateland in a half a tree almost every Saturday. And I want to tell you, is Rat and them brother introduced me to skateland because them could have skate. So them used to go there every weekend. So me used to say, yo, them used to say, you know, come man. So I say, I'll go and figure it out. And so that is where we go on. Them time, you know, I tell you, the time when I used to go skateland is when Bujo At and them kind of sang there. Batty Ride and them sang there. And Ricky General Skettle and them sang there, did that go on. So I'm hearing like when Sly come with the water drum and them rhythm there, them something them used to go skateland, go here. And it just, and how the people react to it and them something that it just amazed me. So them something that in me from them time. So when I started producing, I'm not thinking about rhythm. I think about that dance vibe there. That's what I was thinking about.
That makes total sense right there. So
and sorry for cutting you. And going back to what you said about the dub them now, I've said this over and over. I don't hear nobody come counteract me yet, but I've said this over and over that personally I feel like a Stone Love bus Baddis Riddim because I got a cassette of a Stone Love dance one time, and I didn't hear 145. Stone Love play about 100 and dub. Baddis alone, me not hear 145. So I figure to me it's like a Stone Love buster really. You know, so I had to have to weep and roar with them. And if anybody want to come challenge me, let me know because as a producer, I do them. That's how I think so.
I don't know for sure. And if that's what you say, that's what we're going to go with. I remember for sure Stone Love, but it's just there was a lot of songs that Bass Odyssey in particular had that, okay, this, we won't forget this here now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Baddis Riddim. Okay, so then you do the Baddis now. You and TOK is linking. You guys officially linked at this time, or you guys were still just voicing songs and these type of things?
No, man, we were a team them time because we used to touch road together. I'm not even sure if because we didn't sign a contract for management, them just know say Main Street are them base. So they're coming there, you know, almost every day. We're hanging out, we're voice song, and I don't even remember how the management thing come into play, but I started looking shows for them and we started doing barbecues and stuff and photo shoot and them kind of thing. I don't think we did photo shoots here, but get them reprint posters and stuff and, you know, start doing 1 and 2 shows locally. So, yeah, so that's like 98, 99, right before we started traveling together in 99, I believe, yeah.
Okay, because that's when they got the big monster hit.
Yeah, Eagles Cry, Dave Kelly.
Okay. And I know you were instrumental in making this happen. So from a producer to a producer, you being a producer and Dave Kelly being a producer, how did you make that happen?
Well, luckily for me, Dave Kelly's company, Platinum Distributions, used to distribute. They were distributing Grasscat at the time. Because after Baddis, I decided to move my distribution from Main Street and I changed my label name and everything, but just kind of say, you know what, it's not every time family is good for business. So I went to Dave them, because I rate Dave them and everything. So I went around there, meet Janet Davidson and stuff, and so I started distributing my third rhythm, which was Grasscat, through Platinum Distributions. And so being around there, you know, I had link with Yolande, which was the receptionist secretary assistant at the time, and linking with Janet. So I was around there relatively often and stuff. TOK said, like, oh, you go around there, you know, Dave and whatever, see if him will vice way. So I said, no problem, because in my mind, I'm not selfish. I'm a manager artist, but not because me a manager means I must produce everything, because I don't must produce the hit song. But at the end of the day, I'm still working as a manager. So me love Dave Kelly too. So if Dave can get a song with t.o.k, why not? So they mentioned it and I said, sure, I'm going to go to Dave. And the first thing that Dave said to me, I'd never forget. I'm going to Dave in the studio time. I said, Dave, but I love you for voice my artist at my area. And the first thing Dave look for me and says, how them stay. Like he wants to know if them are some egotistical attitude type of artist. So I said, no man, the man them super cool and this and that. And them I say, yeah. But say, all right, bring them come. And that was it. It's not like a link, go on. That was it. And the man, I wasn't even there when them was voicing the song. And hats off to Dave Kelly again, because he didn't have to do this. After him voice and mix the song, you know, him call me and say, come listen to your artist, them song. And play it for me and say, oh, it sound. And I'm like, in my head, it's like, you produce this song? You Dave Kelly. You understand what I say? I say, hey, it bad. It's all wicked, man. It's all wicked.
And
but, you know.
How that started.
Yeah.
Crazy. You mentioned something before we even go further. Grasscat Riddim. So then that was your third production there now. Yeah,
Gypsy Baddis Grasscat, yeah.
Okay. Talk about this here. How did you even come up with that now? Because if you listen to Baddis and Grasscat,
totally
they have a very similar vibe.
Yeah. Them have what those two rhythms have in common is the low kick, the sub bass that is in it. And as me say, when me in the dance there and the kick drum there, rumble, me feel that something there. You know, so I want to tell you, it's when I cleavy kick them sample. When I still a cleavy kick them sample, because the sound it just different, trust me. And so yeah, so Grasscat was the third rhythm, and that's a similarity. Outside of that, you know, again, as I said, I didn't want it just on a regular boop, boop, bop, boop, boop. So I add other elements that make it stood out, you know.
And that was Vegas, Chico. Who else was on Grasscat? Because in my mind, I'm trying to separate Baddis and Grasscat, but they're all just being amalgamated. It's like it's hard for me to separate.
All right. So Mr. Vegas now. All right, I never mentioned Vegas pan Gypsy Rhythm, because at that time Vegas was coming around Main Street, and Vegas pretty much was on all Rhythm them at that time. So you mentioned artists that wasn't linking with Main Street. Vegas was one of them. I don't remember if you did say that, but yeah, Vegas was one of them. So he was on in the Depan Baddis too. And so Grasscat now, and I think that is why I call the rhythm Grasscat, because of Vegas song. I believe so. So it was Vegas, Chico, t.o.k, Hawkeye, Red Rat. I think Goofy did up on it too. Beenie Man was on it as well. And then Cabra did up on it too. Yeah. So that's Grasscat.
How did that Cabra link come around? Because this is totally left field from everybody that you're dealing with.
Once again, I don't remember if somebody bring him to the studio or he was there to do something for Danny or somebody, and me just reach out to him. And him just hear the rhythm and like it and just voice. What can I say? I don't know if I explain them thing. I must trust me. He's an artist, and it's similar to the same thing with when Cabra did do anything on Juice Rhythm. That's the same thing. Me just find back him number and say, DJ, me have a man sitting here for you know. The man say, me I circle you. No go round, no nothing. Him just circle me and the song just work.
It's like when you really look into what you brought to the table from so early, it's crazy amazing. I think you would have to sit down at this stage in your career and really look about like, holy smokes, at the beginning, this is what I was doing.
Yeah, I never really thought about it, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it's one of those crazy things. So Grasscat is going. So out of it right now, Gypsy, Baddis, and Grasscat, which one of them really did the most damage at that time there?
Baddis, man. Even now, Baddis all the way. No, lie. But Baddis at that time. Yeah, sorry. Not all the way, but at that time.
All right. You have out your Grasscat, you have out your Baddis. Everything is going on now. You guys got the TOK got the big song over at Dave Kelly on the Brooklyn Rhythm now, all right?
Yeah.
What path are you guys going right now?
Still just do music because we love it. Because in my mind, TOK have a bad song now with Dave Kelly. And we start getting the calls now. People start call, one TOK. Excuse me. And that was, I think that's when we did our first couple of shows in New York. You know, and even funny story, I mean, kind of sidestep, because I remember during that time, when TOK have a couple songs and whatever we wanted, you know, I try to look label deal. Everybody I try to look label deal. Even though VP was interested, but we try to look label deal. We end up all the way in Virginia, in a Teddy Riley studio. I'm going to play the song on Grasscat for Teddy Riley, and Teddy Riley was like, yo, what's it? This is bad. So, and I'm like, yo, Teddy Riley, I go and say over my little production. And that link was a TOK link, and a TOK brethren did have a link with him, and we end up, I'm student as me, because TOK was looking to probably sign on Teddy's label. It didn't work out still, but I just had to go there. So anyway, so we were, you know, in New York doing shows and stuff, and as I said, Eagles Cry are going good. And we're getting calls and TOK a voice up song for this producer and that producer. As I say, I'm not a selfish manager, because the more songs they can have out there for other producers that's working for them. Because at the time, I was working under this old type of, I should more say not old, but a Dave Kelly mode of operation, in terms of Dave used to only drop one rhythm per year, if you notice, or maybe two the most. So back then I was like, me don't need to drop more than one rhythm a year. So me being this artist manager producer, and me only put out one rhythm for the year, that not gonna help the artist. They need to be on everybody else's rhythm too. So my thing is, when my rhythm come, that I got shot. You know, can go voice, you know, didn't even need my permission, just voice. When the song them do well, then we'll know that we have more shows and stuff like that. So yeah, so from there, when Eagles Cry hot now, yeah, we were just still at the song, touch the road, and tour, and still I try to find, that hit song there. And I think at that time now, this are like late 99, 2000 now, that's when VP signed me as a producer. I was signed to VP as a producer back then. And so the clear for that now was when, because at 2000 thereabout, TOK voiced the song for LOY. And then when that blew up, is when VP said, "Ah, we need an album from them." So that is how the whole VP thing with TOK it come up. But back then we just have work. We just have work.
Get it in from there. So okay, so then you were the first one to sign. You were signed as a
producer. Yeah.
Okay, and then I guess that was the way TOK got in through you as a producer.
What? That's that. The label had wanted. In retrospect, maybe I should have done it that way, but I didn't. I wanted the best for my artists at the time. So instead of presenting TOK's album to the label under my contract, I said, no, sign them separately. So my thing separate from them thing. So that's it. And I think it worked out better for them that way too, personally. But yeah, so I was signed first, and then because I was good with everybody in a VP, and again, the Brownie personality, which no attitude, and when I, diss up nobody in no way, good to deal with. Plus, my manager group is like, oh yeah, sure,
Yeah, makes sense. So then now, this we're talking about 2000 now. When did Lexus come into the fold for you?
When I was signed to VP, because them time they know, I was saying, how is it, I'm a signed producer to VP, and I'm not really working on any artist albums. I'm just still doing my rhythm album, them on the label, I put them out. So I think it was Christy Barber, because Christy Barber was Lexus's A&R at the time, I believe. Or maybe it was Joel, but me and Christy Barber was good. So Christy Barber tell me, say, yo, we're working on Lexus's album. So we're sending come voice for you. And I said, sure. And at the time, I had Orgasm Riddim. Just I work on Orgasm Riddim. So that's how Lexus did get on a rhythm there. It was actually done for his album. Crazy. And the funniest thing is I had two more rhythms, and that's the only one in the end of voice. And I think Lexus is a highly distracted artist. Very talented, very charismatic, but highly distracted. I call the man how much time to come voice on the album track, them him not come. When me have the juggling now, me say, yo, come now man, Ray, I make the juggling miss you. The man turn up. And I want to biggest song them to date.
Crazy. And remind everybody which song is on the Orgasm Riddim there.
Have a new style, what them call it, full 100.
Big. You know what I mean? So he's hot, TOK is hot, everybody's hot. So when did you decide to actually bring Lexus into the management department of what you were doing?
Oh, that managing Lexus was after TOK. After me and TOK, they have a little falling out and all of that stuff.
Okay, so then let's go back then, because I figured that it would have been 2000. Okay, he just came into the fold. That was after.
That was long after, like 2004 or 5, them 10 or even 6.
Yeah. Okay, so you're working at VP, you're doing your thing. What I want to know is, you've done so many things. How do you manage all of these things and you only have 24 hours in one day? You're producing, you're managing artists, you're flying around, you're signed to a label. How did you manage all of these stuff simultaneously?
Not to mention married with a child.
That part.
When you love, all right. I think the blessing for me back then was that, apart from just doing it out of love for the music and me loving it so much and doing it, it showed me back love. Because them say what you receive is what you get, what you put out. So I put my love and my energy in it, and I am grateful and very thankful that my wife back then she understood, because you know woman stay sometime. You know, where are they at studio late at night? When you come home and this and that? And she was never like that. And I guess because she's an artist, so she sing. You know, she used to do background vocals and stuff. So she understands the music industry, and she's the kind of person that she knows that this is what Richard do, this is what him love. She not getting in between that, none at all. And even when my daughter born, I wasn't even in Jamaica. I was in Europe. And them call me up on the phone when she go in a labor, and when my daughter born, the nurse, because I knew the nurse from, I used to go visit the hospital with her. So the nurse actually said, who that? Daddy on the phone? And pinch my daughter so that she cries, so me hear her over the phone. And this was while I was in Europe with TOK. You know, and I think some family member, I don't remember who, faxed a picture of the newborn daughter to me while I was in Europe. So my point in all that is saying that, you know, I had a very understanding wife when it come on to that, because she knows that this are the work, and apart from the obvious, put food on the table and provide, but this is what the man love and do. So, you know, so I give thanks for that. So yeah, we just had to do the work, and things just happen.
Yeah, because that's a lot of hats or a lot of plates to be juggling at any one time. You know, one is gonna not work, or one is you have to continually move things around.
Right, and in addition to that, one hat that you didn't mention was that I also was TOK's band leader. I was the MD. So my band used to play for TOK up on stage, 303 band. And let me just drop some name now. Left side, play drum for up on a couple of shows, because left side is a drummer first before I'm an artist. Left side used to play thing there for drum, couple of shows. Bowie Carl McClackin keyboard that he was working with my dad from Jimmy Cliff days. Him end up come play keyboard for part of the run to who else did in the band? Well, yeah, so that's pretty much it.
So that's a lot of stuff to be handling at one time.
Riff Raff, very talented young guy, Riff Raff, that play keyboard in Nebulous Records. He worked with Steve Marley. Them. He played keyboards for us too on a couple tours. So things.
Wow, that's wild. Okay, so how long were you with TOK? From when did you guys actually part?
So from 98. I'd say officially managing them from 98, 99 to 2003 was when the separation happened.
Okay, so then let's talk up to there. What were some of the bright moments that you remember in that journey between those times there from 2000 up to 2003 with TOK?
Well, I can't say specifically any, one moment, but a couple of the shows I remember, like, I don't remember the name of the show, but we were doing a show in Florida. I don't remember if it's Best of the Best or what was that, a big show in Florida at the amphitheater. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I remember that was the first time I saw Vybz Kartel, because I was pissed off at Vybz Kartel at that show. And it wasn't anything personal. It was like not directly pissed off. I was annoyed. But it got artist. And the reason for that is me and TOK, we go shopping. And we decided to say, this way, because that was another thing. People used to think that I'm a part of the group, because I used to dress like the man them. So the man them in something, four of them in something, SHAMS in it too. Mm-hmm. So we did get them long white shorts and blue and white jersey type of thing. And we were going at the venue and thing. Who in at the same thing? Kartel. Let me say you want there. And why it did suck is that Kartel never as big as TOK at the time, so he would have performed before us. So that is why it did annoy me, because he might go up on stage in that, and then we come on after. We are gonna feel like we are follow or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, but that specific show in Florida was awesome for me, because that was the first time we used pyrotechnics. We hired a pyro crew, fly them down, and set up the show. And when TOK run out and we start shell the place and pyro a shoot off, amazing. But this is why I say I can't say any special moment, because we go Europe, we like Europe. We do Japan tours. Japan are some of them we love, because we listen. not many people talk about this, but another highlight is we did a tour in Japan, BMO Festival, right? It was t.o.k, Shaggy, Sean Paul did it. t.o.k, I don't remember if Sean Kingston was it. t.o.k, Shaggy, Sean Kingston, Jay Holiday, Lil Jon, Omarion, Pitbull. So this is a festival. So we tour, we're doing different cities in Japan, right? Mm-hmm. One city, this was like the third or second show, right? And the lineup was t.o.k. I don't remember who went first, but the last segment of the show now was like t.o.k, Omarion, then Pitbull, then Shaggy. Shaggy was the closing act. After t.o.k shelled the place, Omarion for go on. Now, t.o.k and Shaggy, full band, right? Mm-hmm. Pitbull and them set them use a drummer and them DJ and a percussionist. Omarion and the other man them is hip-hop artists, so them use just DJs alone. Mm-hmm. So Omarion DJ go out there and start play and thing, and like him go out and sing one song, and at one point him run off of the stage and he basically say, oh, I'm not going back out there till the crowd gets alive. So to not sound too braggadocious, after t.o.k shell the place, mm-hmm. the crowd call up on Omarion and him vex because he must say, oh, them guys are shell the place on the crowd just like them nobody want to see me. It's like t.o.k suck out every last bit of energy out of the crowd. So when Omarion come up on the stage now, them don't want to see him. So that was a highlight. And me love Omarion, a bad artist. So to me, him should just go out there and do him thing. Mm-hmm. But and it's not every artist like that something when the crowd gives somebody else some big praises, and then when you reach, it's like them want to know who you'll be. But so that was one instance that was memorable. Mm-hmm. And the last show that I did with t.o.k that kind of mashed up my head now was in must be 2005 or 2006. When we went to Costa Rica. Now, if you notice the year that I said, 2005, 2006, mm-hmm. because management thing did end in 2003. Mm-hmm. And what happened was, basically, me molest the man them for me vex with the man them, me done with them. Mm-hmm. Me and them never talk for a little while. And then the following year, 2004, we start link up back a little bit and reason, and me have a rhythm, concubine rhythm at the time. Because that was the rhythm. That was the first time I voiced them back since me and them did kind of mash up. Mm-hmm. So, concubine rhythm now, me did reach out to them and say, yo, me have a bad rhythm, what I do? So this is after we kind of get back good. But anyway, so during that get back good time now, as much as I wasn't managing them come to me and say, yo, differently still, we want you back. We want back your band. We want you put a band together, because that was always the chemistry. Because after me and them, the mashup Blaze, they play for them for a little while, and then they have some other musician work with them. And the energy, the chemistry, not even energy, the chemistry just wasn't there. The traveling, because that is one thing that I was always blessed with. And again, very thankful for it. Every artist that I've ever toured with, not even the artist himself, but the musicians, the camaraderie, is like no other. Because I hear about tours where man go up on a man back knife, a man a fight, a man a chat to man, and I've never experienced that. Mm-hmm. You understand what I say? So I give thanks for that. So when the man them say, yo, bring back the band, we want back the band. I say, sure. Because, fine, to be honest, I was a bit getting annoyed with managing them, because then they just start bitch at one point. Because artists, them start complaining about everything. Sorry, I should have. Me can cuss?
Of course.
Yeah. So, so in 2003, when them decided to fire me as manager, I was getting annoyed with them because, instead of beating the iron, like they have this meme that people keep sending around. I don't know if you see it, where they show you two pictures of a man digging, and there's a diamond, and one turn back, and then one dig straight with the diamond. I think that's the problem with t.o.k. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what happened in my opinion. Even though they got footprints, they could have been much bigger if then they just stick with SHAMS at the time. Mm-hmm. Because they were more focused on because them signed to VP at the time too, and then Bad Boys is interested in LA, and then Atlantic they take up Sean Paul. They were looking at all of that, and I say, basically, them feel like everybody are around them and VP is paying more attention, and then it kind of fall back on me as manager because I'm not pushing them enough. But in reality, if you never, the Chichiman song is what prevented that from moving forward. But nobody wanted to accept that at the time. Or even if them accept it, nobody not saying it. So before them accept that and move on and figure out another way, then Shams are the problem. Because Shams not push them hard enough. So that was that.
And that's what caused the breakdown in the relationship was the blame game.
Yeah, they figured that I wasn't more I mean, and I'm not excusing myself too. I'm a little bit too laid back, yes. Mm-hmm. But somehow with my personality and thing, I still got shit done, regardless. So for them to say, oh, you're not a go-getter, you can't do this, and we need a shark and stuff, and because we swim with big boys, them know, whatever. At the time, I was just so frustrated. Me say, do whatever you want to do. I'm just call it a day. Mm-hmm. So that was that. And in retrospect, I should have really just put them in them places and say, listen, you know how much blood and sweat we're putting at this, and try to give them a pep talk to say, yo, we are moving as a team. You can't break the team now. You understand? But at the time, again, young, emotional, because me annoyed and pissed off how they approached even that meeting. I'm just say, that's another, go on.
Mm-hmm. But the fact that you guys came full circle and said, okay, you know what, that was that, but you guys realize in yourself that there's some form of chemistry, even if it's not management, this role doesn't really suit for each other. We like what you bring as in band-wise, where you present our package where we look good. So then it's good that each other recognize that, listen, we might not be getting along or on the same path with management, but when it comes to our production, our sound, how we look and present it, you're definitely the man. That's something good that came out of that situation.
Yeah, man, 100%. And in reality, there was at no point after the link up back, at no point there was any kind of animosity or bad feelings that carry. Everything just good same way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you understand what I say? So it's not like we did it with heavy hearts then. That wasn't ever the situation. Oh, what I was going to mention, why I said 2006 was the last memorable moment with them on stage, was we went to Costa Rica. And when we were rehearsing for the show, the man them said to me, Shams, we got there last year on tracks, and a year song I want a bigger song them down there. And I'm like, which song that? And them said, Them Boy There, which is a song what it never play one time in a Jamaica yet, mostly. Never, ever, ever, ever. The rhythm not see the light of day in a Jamaica. And when t.o.k. said that song there, they said, really? Them said, when you go, you will see the forward. And them said, all right, we're going to start with that song there. Because Chichiman and Money to Burn and them song there, but that song, them just love that song, they could do it. Muscle. Mm-hmm. We rehearsed the set, and the set good and everything. I think them have a piece of the video on Facebook or somewhere. Because we had carried a brethren to film the whole Costa Rica thing. You see, when we go up on stage and them say, t.o.k. and the band start, and we do the fanfare, we do the intro, and then the rhythm drop, and t.o.k. run out and say, we no want no fast sleep and we can. When we see 30,000 Spanish people in Costa Rica lift up, me I said, no, sir. Me I said, no. That rhythm here, and to be honest, that is one of my biggest streaming songs on Spotify right now. Because I released it in 2018, and how I did it was Shams the producer, featuring t.o.k. And it is on the top of it's not millions of streams, but my thing is, it's still my highest streaming song. And Costa Rica is the only place that song is being streamed.
That's wild. It's region. You never know where your song is going to connect. Just like
never.
Shaggy's song, it wasn't me. It was really in Hawaii.
Yep.
Is where that kicked off. Like, what's the chances of that?
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. Okay. So you guys up to 2006 now. So then now, when did Lexus? You said what year did you start to manage Lexus now, and how did that happen?
Maybe it was then because at some point we did. Yeah, me and t.o.k. did have a little falling out after that. Some band business and tour business, and it just never worked out. So we just dismantled the band. Mm-hmm. And I think it was around then. So it's really 2006, 2007 Nexus. I don't even remember how I started managing him. I know that I used to link with Jerome Hamilton, Carlet, them by Headline Entertainment. And they were always his booking agent. And me and Carlet cool and everything. And I think she had mentioned, say, hey, Lenny need a manager, you know. You're down fight and whatever. Let me talk to him a couple of times and I say, yeah, why not? Because he's a very as me say, he's very talented and charismatic, wicked DJ and can DJ. But I didn't learn about his distractions until I started managing him. So yeah, it was around them time there.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's big there too. And another artist that I know you were managing too was DeVille. Okay.
Yeah, for a short little while.
Where this is kind of, it's like one of those moments is where, like, because remember, I spoke to TOK and they talked about the ARP versus TOK. So then now you had TOK. This time TOK was gone while you had DeVille, or DeVille was a separate time.
Mama, after TOK gone, yeah. After TOK gone.
Yes, then it almost seems like that. I wouldn't say weird, but it just seeed, let's say, funny to call it a thing, as in
it was like a betrayal.
I wouldn't you see, because why I can't 100% say that is because I'm not in the rooms, the offices, and understand what's going on in the background. You understand? It's like you would be in the background, so you would know. It just, for me seeing that, it's like it just seems kind of
fishy, kind of funny, right? The DeVille situation, I want to, the reality of it is this: the minute, and no lie, the minute people heard, because the thing I did wrong in 2003 was I put out a press release, because we had a publicist and stuff, and I put out a press release. The minute TOK fired me from being management, I put out a press release. So everybody knew that I was no longer with TOK. The minute people find out that every artist who I'm managing them, every group, as a matter of fact, they just say, yo, Shams, come and do it. I'm just never interested. So DeVille now, he used to come around 1 and 2 times, come by the studio, and I think we did a couple projects with him for some Japanese labels or whatever. And during that time, he needed a manager. And I was there, I'm saying, yeah, sure. And I did one show with him. Like, I booked one show at a travel with him. But, yeah. you live and you learn, because I was, all right, after the TOK situation, I said, because I didn't sign an agreement with TOK, I said, any artist I'm working with after this, they have to sign an agreement. They have to sign a management contract, because I'm not going back to that kind of a situation with any artist. When DeVille came now, I was like, so we need to sign an agreement. He must say, oh no, my situation with my previous manager, it kind of tricky still, like he might claim said the paperwork never really up between them and this and that, and the man must have did that sue him, because obviously you manage an artist for X amount of years and you invest X amount of money. You need some residual, you need to see some money. So I believe, him and the management was going through something at the time. So I'm sorry, no problem. How long before it over? I'm saying 6 months. I'm sorry, me wait. But then, long story short, DeVille was using me. But I'm not going at that. But that was the case. He wanted his record done. As the record done, so him done. He moved on. Such is life.
It's the business. And again, it's not until you really get to sit down, I guess, for the last, say, year. The pandemic has really got a lot of people to sit down, think, have amazing conversations. As I tell people, right now, in the last 11 months, we've had the best conversations that we've ever had in the entire existence of music history. You understand?
I watch your podcast, so I see them. Yeah, man.
Because it's like now we have time to sit down and think, because we were always on the go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know somebody like you too. Outside of management, you've been on the road with many artists like Queen Ifrica, you name it. You've been on the road with these people. Exactly what was your role? Egyptian, Anthony B, and Sean Paul, Shaggy. What was your role on the road with them touring?
Well, for Queen it wasn't touring. Queen, two things with Queen Ifrica. I played on a couple tracks bass. I played bass on a couple tracks for her album, The Climb. And my band, since I relocated to New York, my band is the go-to band for VP showcases and VP events. So like Jerkfest, my band will back the artists them on Jerkfest. And like when them doing, cause that was Queen Ifrica's album launch. So my band played for her. And funnily, me know Rebel from Jamaica. So when them get the call and say, yo, most artists is like this, and it's funny. I find it funny every time. Because when them say, yeah, man, want to bring a band, and you say, no, we have a band in New York that can play for you. Yo, what kind of band? Me on a New York band come play for me and Ray. And then them say, we're going to make the band leader call you. And them say, Shams a call you. Oh, are you? We could then, man. And then when me tell them who else are playing at the band, like with Jerkfest for argument's sake, when me talk to Lukey D for Lost, because we play for Lost, last Jerkfest, when me say, Lukey, I shot him, say, oh, are you a play? They win a good then, man. And me say, yeah. And me I say, me pan bass, drum rat, which I try I play drum, my brother play guitar, and Dwayne Carbon that originally discovered Alkaline, but Dwayne used to play with play for Beenie Man and Beenie Man band the name Zagazow. Dwayne used to play when Beenie did leave Rough Cut and I work with Zagazow. Dwayne in New York now too. So I said this are the band. It's like the band actually named Jamrock All Stars. Is a star band you know have?
Has to be now. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, what really happens in the music industry is extremely, extremely interesting because all we get to see is the final product. We hear the song, we see them on stage and all that. But we don't know leading up to that what happened and how it even happened.
Right.
That's wild there. Talking about, let's get into some of your rhythms here now. All right. Under your belt, how many rhythms you have right now? Okay, let's make it easier for you. How many hit rhythms do you have under your belt?
Well, and I to me, it's not much, but what I say, the majority of the ones that I'm put out hit. So, for instance, Baddis, the first round of Baddis, 98, Baddis did hit. Then after Baddis was Grasscat did hit. Orgasm in a 2000 did hit. Intercourse was before Orgasm. It never do so bad, but it did go on with that thing. But Orgasm hit for sure, no doubt to Orgasm. Then after Orgasm was Juice.
Crazy.
Juice did hit. Then Glue was after that. Glue never. So I would have said them four. Then the remake of Baddis in 2005. So those are my, staple. We're still playing a dance today.
To this day, Juice Freedom.
Yeah.
Who was on the Juice Freedom? Let's talk about that one there.
Juice Riddim, t.o.k for sure. Then t.o.k Bounty Killer. Then we call him name earlier, Cabra. Mr. Easy, Degree, and Mr. Easy. Tell me every time I say Easy, because Easy living in New York as well. Said that song there is one of his biggest song them too. And funny that song they never get much love in Jamaica, in my opinion. But that song there, she's a freaky kind of lady. Bad song. Yeah, I think that's it. Easy t.o.k Bounty Killer. Yeah.
Was that the first time that
and sorry, Vegas. Let see you wanna go up. All of the rest them when they have no pork.
Pork.
Yeah.
What was it like recording with Bounty Killer the first time?
Nervous because Killer always seemed to have a particular attitude. I want to tell you the first time I approached Bounty Killer, he embarrassed me, The first time I approached Bounty Killer to voice for me, he embarrassed me. But I was embarrassed, but him just had to film. Killer has just been Killer. Because I was done by, where's the name? Music Works, Anchor, done by Augusta Dem Studio. Because I heard that he was on there, I wanted him to voice. And Grasscat at the time. So not even Juice Riddim, so this is a Grasscat, so this is before that. And first thing what threw me off is, I want to talk to him, but him have this bag of man around him. And I say, yo, we forgot draw a killer from the crowd now. I'm gonna wait. I'm say the crowd not leaving killer side. And then Mr. Killer walk when now, like he might leave the studio. So I said, no, we can't make this happen. And funny, Killer see me in the parking lot long time. I wait for talk to him. Mm-hmm. When I approached him, when I walk over to him now, in my head to him carry now. When I walked over to him now, the first thing Killer said to me is, so Shams, I'll make you wait till me I leave to come talk to me. And I'm like, yo, I'm to the brother, man. And I said, John, I don't see a reason with you, man. I not got, running for you, I see a reason. So I wait my turn. Mm-hmm. And them say, I really me check it on them time that him and Beenie a feud. Okay. So when me say a grass cat more advice pan, him say, if I read him with fishing in the pan, me not advice pan it. Next read him. And him just walk away. He must say, if I read him with fishing in the pan, me not advice pan it. Next read him. And him just walk with them and leave. I was like, John, no. Mm-hmm. So when we have the juice reading now, mm-hmm. Actually t.o.k. them did write his part. And we track him down and link him up and him come at the studio and then them sing for him part for him and say, yeah man, this part. And him just go voice it. And that was it.
That's wild. That's just, again, it's usually the approach. First, you got to break that hard exterior.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you understand how he thinks, how he operates. Okay. We'll approach again. And then now you'll make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Yeah,
that's wild there. Okay. Even with somebody like, I know you've worked with basically almost all top people in the industry. Who are some artists that you haven't worked with yet? Recorded.
You mean that I would have wanted to? Because I think who I work with, I pretty much wanted to work with. So mm-hmm. Who would be there that I would have wanted but didn't? I can't think of anybody, because I work with Sean Paul. Mm-hmm. The only person that I would have wanted to have a single with would have been Shaggy. Mm-hmm. And I approached him last year and he turned me down. But me and him good same way because, as I said, I was hanging out by him studio last week for argument's sake. So me and him good, mm-hmm. And I hats off to him because, again, as I said to him also, he's friggin' Shaggy we are talking about it. We're not talking about no little normal, brother. Mm-hmm. So when let me tell you the story. I send him the rhythm like weeks, mm-hmm. and him get the rhythm in WhatsApp. I don't know if him listen to it, but I don't like running and pressure people. So I give him a couple of days, and then I never hear from him. So I link him back and say, yo, DJ, what? You know, like the rhythm, walking our voice, where you dealing? Mm-hmm. And him call me. Him never text back, him call me and say, which rhythm you talk about? I say, I send the rhythm to your thing. And he must say, oh, and then he explain to me, he say, yo, I not do no juggling for nobody right now. And he have a conversation about it, and I say, all right, let me tell you why I appreciate that so much. And put aside the fact that my brother play 9 band, because at the end of the day, that don't mean nothing. Mm-mm. You understand? So, man, we're not big like Shaggy, I act like, say, me have to run back at them over and over and over. And I say, this is not necessary because my thing is, like even Sean, I love and respect Sean. The biggest problem me have with Sean is, if you're not voicing for me, just tell me, me not got all the hard feelings against you because me not getting a voice to put on. You understand me? I say, me not got vex with me, not got see a road and make up my face because you no voice to me. Me a picnic. You understand me? I say, me respect your craft and more voice. You don't want voice, yo, big up, see me, might be next reading, might be next year, might be never. Me and you good same way because 10 other man that they will voice are not. It not affect me here in our day because my talent not gone away, your talent not gone away. Mm-hmm. We just have to agree to disagree. So that is my only problem I have with Sean. And why I say that is one time I bug him for voice to me. Because Sean did voice on Glue. Sean had voice on the Glue Rhythm. Sam fired the song name. Mm-hmm. And after I think him the voice on one more. Him the voice on you notice I didn't even mention this rhythm, Tai Chi rhythm, because it was whack as hell. He voiced on that rhythm. He voiced on that rhythm as well. Mm-hmm. But I think him the kind of vex that him never get on the orgasm rhythm at the time. Him never kind of feelings doing about when orgasm the drop, enough artists will never voice it vex. Because they must say, yo, the bad rhythm them not get on, but then they get on the rhythm them after that. Anyway, fast forward to a couple years, must say Concubine rhythm or one of them rhythm there. I was linking him for voice. Me get him number from Jason, I believe. Try call him, no answer. Text him answer one time, then him no answer, but me I call him, no answer. So me just take it to Twitter. Me just tweet him and say, yo, King, rare. Same time him link back, yo, what kind of thing that? So me I said, all you have to do answer me. And that has been my thing with Sean back and forth, you know, just because my thing is, bro, me love you same way. Me not carry no feelings. If you not feel the rhythm, if you don't want voice, just say Shams. Me not feel the rhythm. Me not go vex. Me not have no reason for vex. You understand? And you mentioned earlier what were some of my roles with some of these artists. Sean was my voice cup song with him, but one of the most successful tours that my band did was, I think this was 2002. It was a tour with Sean Paul, Canto Metro Devante, TOK, Mr. Easy, and Lexus. It was a VP tour. 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, you know, not America, Baddis tour. And again, I mentioned to you, you know, some tour where man a fight and them sitting there. Yo, at the most joke me get on that tour. Because you know Tanto Metro and Devante, them full of energy and full of vibes. Sean Paul, full of vibes. And you know, the whole, it was just a family vibe and it did just nice. No animosity, nothing. Man do them set on stage and come off and everybody happy same way. Nobody not complain about who get the most forward or not, and none of them foolishness there. So, you know, that is how you see those names in some of that situation.
That makes total sense. And somebody like you that's been producing, especially the late 90s until right now, when juggling is hot and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What happened to juggling right now? Why we're not getting the jugglings like we used to?
Well, for one, it don't really make no sense. In other words, in my opinion, when you're selling 45, when you're selling physical product, back then, it made a lot of sense, especially during pre-order, which is like the first month when the stuff just a drop. You know, especially if it's a label where hot, people don't even need to know the name of who is on the rhythm. Them just say, who that Madhouse, give me. Who that Rude Boy Kelly, give me. Who that Be Rich, give me X amount of copies. You know, but when, so when you were doing physicals back then, you know, man, come in a record shop, they just know that certain labels that were hot at the time, they would just take, you know, a couple of copies of that label's new release, because they know the chances are it's going to be good. Because when you have a reputation as a producer, as a label, you know, your thing will sell. Nowadays, with the advent of streaming, because I even had my own distribution. After Baddis, I was distributing my own records. No, not after Baddis, sorry. Before the redone Baddis. So rhythms like, they have a rhythm named Fear Factor and another one named, I don't remember what the name is, but prior to 2005, so between 2003 and 2005, I was distributing my own 45s and business was good. After 2006, 2007, now when the digital things step up, physical never made no sense because I had to close on my distribution. In the streets had to close on theirs. All access had to close. So everybody that was distributing physicals in Jamaica at the time ended up closing down shop because there were no physical sales. It didn't make sense. You couldn't pay your bills from physical sales. And I think that is part of the reason because it don't make no sense nowadays. That even for artist album, because I was surprised when I say Buju come with 20 songs, I'm say Skilledeng have 30 odd songs and his thing, I'm like, who does that nowadays? That's a 3 different projects. Do you understand what I say? 10 and you're good. Because streaming world, now the people can choose what they want to listen to. You understand? It's not a case where you give them an LP. I'm sure you used to go through this too as somebody who buy music. I used to go in a store and it's one song I want, but it's on the CD. So I have to buy the whole CD for the one song. or two songs. That was the case back in the day. Nowadays, you want that one song, that go stream the one song, or go download buy the one song from iTunes. So that to me is why the juggling. I mean, people still do it weirdly, but it makes no sense financially for a producer. But I can, in my opinion, again, I cannot know why people would do it, because again, it's like back then earlier when I mentioned when Danny started his distribution, and it didn't matter to him how the song them sound, him just need to put out stuff because it's quantity. Nowadays, that is the case. So if I drop a rhythm now, and me have, as long as me have 5 big name artists, me can have 5 no name artists and still drop it, because those little 4 cents worth of stream or 0.004 cents will add up at the end of the day. If the production cost though of voicing them no name artists there outweighs the streams, it really not make no sense, because when you check Spotify and you're streaming under 1,000, you're really not making any money. So it's a waste of time. So for that reason, as I said, so the bag of juggling thing and compilation thing, unless it's a brand that has been out for years, like, and I say a brand like Raga Raga or Strictly the Best or Reggae Gold, that is a staple in the industry, as this comes out every year no matter what, people will go buy it. And then there's a physical attached to it as well. So it's not just streaming, you know?
That makes sense, because I always wanted to know, because I know juggling originally came out of necessity. If you're gonna press something on one side, you might as well press it on another side. Or no, it wasn't that. It was once you built the rhythm, you just wanted to fill it up as much as possible. But now we're talking about streaming. So then all you need is one good song. You know what I mean? 2,
Right.
3. You don't need that one bag of juggling. And
back then, I remember how, like, for instance, on Baddis, I had 20 odd songs on the first cut of Baddis, or almost 30 songs. I didn't release all of them though. But, and you know, Grassky had 15 songs and thereabout. And I was thinking about it recently as to what led to that, because prior to that, you know, when man put out juggling, it was 4 song, 5 song pan a rhythm. But what ended up happening back then was, before even I started producing like that, if there were crews. So like, for instance, Dave artists and voice for Dave alone, Jeremy and artists and voice for Jeremy alone, and so on and so forth. Now, when the crew thing they kind of start breakdown and thing, and then what was even happening back then was a man stealing them mobile rhythm for a producer, and the rhythm drop and the rhythm bust. Another producer want a cut of the rhythm. So them thing that used to happen a lot, where 3 man have the same rhythm and release at the same time, because you know that man they have it, and then them probably do a pre-release on the radio, and a man hear it and say you want a cut of that. Like I think Cardi did have 2 different couple rhythm, you know them, couple rhythm from different producers have the same cut of the rhythm. So that led to you have all 30 odd song on one rhythm, but it was never one producer. That's the point that I'm getting to. The only rhythm that I can say prior to, like, when me did a full up juggling, the only other rhythm that had over 30 or 50 odd songs before that was Slim Thing, the Jammies, that did have whole heap of songs from this one producer. But before that, it was the same rhythm, but different producer had cuts. Like Gigi was one too, where different man have cuts.
It's wild, the music business, to think about it now. Want to bring you up to date with some of your new projects. The last official video that I think I seen you put out was a song with Elaine called Million Reasons.
Yeah.
I think that came out in 2018. Let's talk about that project there. How did that come about?
All right. I hadn't done a reggae song in a while. And I hear Lady Gaga song, and I was like, yo, this would be perfect. I want to tell you, originally, because this was while I was working at VP, originally, I wanted to do that song as an exclusive for VP. Because I am the A&R for Strictly the Best, that compilation. So from 2016, I've been the one, you know, compiling Strictly the Best since that. Sorry. Yeah, so I wanted to do it as an exclusive for Strictly the Best. And the first artist I had two other options in mind prior to Alien. And the first one, when we hear Lady Gaga song, the first option for me was, yo, Tessan would have killed that song here. Mm-hmm. But then, you know how artists and management, once our manager got involved and thing, and, you know, a label me a call from it, just turned into one big sitting. So I just said, all right, forget it. Then I wanted IKEA to do it because she have that something there. She can't sing. And yeah, there was some complications with her too, you know. And I sit down and I say, you know what? Let me go for somebody where me know she can sing and she been out there with, you know, hit records and stuff. And it's Alien. And again, it's just the connection, the personality, whatever. The first time I call Alien and tell her, I say, and remember, you know, I have never spoken to her about music ever in my life. So this is the first time I talk to her about music. I've seen her around, and I did a show with Shaggy. I fill in for Shaggy's bass player one time, and she was on the road with Shaggy back then. So I had to play for her. So I see her up on the road and thing, but it wasn't me and her never in a deep conversation. So I see her. So I say, you know, Alien, I'm link her about the record and send her the idea, send her Lady Gaga song, send her the lyrics, and she said, oh, this is a beautiful song. She said, sure, I'll do it. Just like that. Not go around. No. She said, sure. And to this day, I'm so grateful. And again, I don't know. I can't tell her thank you enough. I mean, the song not blow up and go on a wicked way, but however, it's a beautiful production. She sing the... All right. I am in New York, right? And I didn't see the need to fly to Jamaica to go take the voice because she's in Jamaica. So I say, you know what? The only person only two individuals I would trust to take this vocal. One is my brother, which is Robert, or two is my father. And I think Robert was busy. So I called Daddy and said, Daddy, more I go voice Alien for me. And he said, all right, which studio? So I said, Daddy was rehearsing with Taros them, and Taros them rehearsed on Penthouse. Mm-hmm. So him said, oh, me can ask Jeremy because we are going to rehearsal. So me just ask Jeremy if he can book the studio. And him said, sure. So I say, yeah, Jeremy, yeah, come and Jeremy and good same way. Mm-hmm. I want to tell you, me never meant this just coming up. You see, everyone falls in love with him. Yeah. I mix the second batch of that rhythm, you know. What? Me go down a Penthouse, go mix it. Yeah, Jermaine call me. So after everyone falls in love, the song them like the rich, I think Rich is I've got a weakness for swing. Them sang the second batch of everyone falls in love. I mix that rhythm for Jermaine. Go down a Penthouse, go mix it. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, Daddy asked Jermaine, said, Richard want to book some studio time for my voice on Alien song for him. Sure, Alien come down there. She voiced the song. When we get the song, I was like, nobody else couldn't do this. So me glad say Tessa never sing it. Me glad say IKEA never sing it because Alien fit the song perfectly. You know, so that is how it came about. I'm just sad that she ended up turning Christian right in at that time there, so it kind of messed with the promotions for the song, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But she did the song exactly how I heard it in my head. When she sing, I'm like, yo, give thanks with all my heart and everything. Trust me.
100%. And then there's another mad production that you put out. I think this came out a couple of months ago. It's with TOK, War 21, and Voicemail, Baddis Riddim. All right. No. How did you put together all three groups, as a matter of fact, to say, okay, on this one track here?
All right. Sadly, that song that come out long time. What killed that song is, I think I was ahead of my time with that song because it came out right before the whole trap dancehall thing. It come out before that. If it did come out in a trap dancehall, it would have done much better. Mm-hmm. So it came out before that. It was a t.o.k. song. Mm-hmm. It was a t.o.k. song. Mm-hmm. And I just sit down there with the song, me have the beat and everything, and t.o.k. voice them song, and me say, yo, you know what that bad? If me get the 3 top crew them from Jamaica in a one song, because that never do yet. And me say, you know what? t.o.k. War 21 voicemail. And then it's not like there's any animosity amongst the group them either. So, but t.o.k. did voice the film part first. I call Suko and Conley, them come check me, them shut up for them part. I call Craig from voicemail and them shut up for them part. And the rest is the song bad, and I love the song, but people don't love the song, so whatever. But me love the song. It's my second best streaming song on Spotify. But
no,
it's
again,
a bad song.
because a lot of people don't realize that a lot of people have strongholds all over the world outside of the core, which is Jamaica. So t.o.k, they have that Japan, the Europe.
Yeah.
Word 21, they might have somewhere else. Voicemail have somewhere else. So then you combine that energy together and it just goes. But one thing I know with music, just like you do too, a song could be out for 5, 6, 7, 8 years before somehow magically
it catch up somewhere. Yeah, man. I totally agree.
Got a couple more questions before I get you out of here.
Yeah, man.
The one of your latest songs here now. This I know 100% is one of your latest ones with Mr. Vegas, Stay in a Yard, the Grass Cart 2.
Yeah.
How did that come up?
Vegas, man. Vegas. And I want to tell you, it's Vegas why I ended up redoing Baddis in 2005. Because him called me and say, yo, I have an idea for do. Because at the time, Left Side and Esco did have Tuck in your belly. And the vibe, they just bad. And it's like to Vegas, he must say, oh, this sound like me and Lexus. So them just come with the taxi fare thing. So it's the same thing with this grass car thing. Oh, Vegas called me one day and say, you know, the quarantine, him called me and say, Shams, me have a thing in the quarantine, but at the grass cat we I bring back. And I say, yeah. So me I go send you. And him send for my WhatsApp. And I listen to it and I say, all right. And him say, me and Delhi, I say, Delhi ranks. Him say, yeah. I say, all right. Because, me not like, over the years, Vegas is as much as, and this is a thing where a lot of people, cannot relate to. Not because me and a man talk every week or every month or whatever, it means say, we not good. You understand? So, and because, all right, me and Craig did up on the phone yesterday for about half an hour. Last month, me and Bass up on the phone for about an hour. And before that, me and Alex. And then Flex did come to New York where me and him drive to Connecticut, go link Track Star. So, it's not like, because we not link like that means say we not good. We good. You understand? So when Vegas called me and I say, yeah man, I know nothing. Like we deal with it. And him just say, all right, and we do it.
And just get it from there. No, it's a smart one. It was a smart move in the time and it made sense. Bring back the rhythm, bring back something that has a topic that's going on right now. It's just a win-win-win for all parties involved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right now, what are you working on right now, 2021, that we could be looking out for?
I'm going to be honest with you, right? And this is the first time I'm saying this publicly. The turn of the year 2021, I decided to be done with production. Like in a real life. I tell a couple of people, I tell my brother, and I tell somebody else, a co-worker from the office. And yeah, man, I said I'm done with the business because I have been demotivated. And it's not even like I'm carrying any hard feelings for anybody specifically, or I just feel like the business is where it's at, and two things. One, I live in New York. Sadly, anytime you reach out to somebody in Jamaica, the fact that you're in New York, them just as a dollar sign, and that's a fact. Anytime you outside of Jamaica and call somebody, them as a dollar sign. And one minute like that, especially because of the reputation. But you see, it's very few people respect the reputation and where you're coming from. Because you have another set of people who say you are as big as your last hit. So some people don't really care about your reputation or whatever. If you're not hot now, and I've accepted that. That don't affect me. Yeah, I'm not in the hot heat and the production thing, but me not dead. So any card can draw. You understand? And one thing I always say, no disrespect to any artist, but a producer shelf life outweigh artists any friggin' day. Because artists have shelf life. I look at Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones is 70 or 80 and he's still producing. You understand my point? There's no 80-year-old artist who are going to stand up on the stage or And I'm not speaking from doing a catalog, me talk doing current stuff. There's no 80-year-old artist where nobody wants to release no song. It just not happen. An 80-year-old artist can go up on stage and sing him catalog because the older folk will know him song. But no 18 to 25-year-old wants to say an 80-year-old person on stage and sing. They don't care about you. You look like a grandfather. Go sit down. So, as a producer, I know my value and what I can create up until, me 90 odd. Okay, fine. But, so, thinking about just production and where it is at, and firstly, me not really like the whole trap dancehall thing. I listen to it, but let me tell you why it bothers me. Trap dancehall bothers me because I think as Jamaicans, as reggae music, dancehall music, we are losing our identity and we cannot afford that to happen. I'm not saying, and I say, Shaggy talked about it recently, and Jeremy Hardin did an interview where he spoke about it, where I know two the Jamaicans are dabble in a hip hop and them something there, but we have never totally lost it. You understand? Back in the day when we had remixes and 1 and 2 man a DJ upon certain hip hop beats and stuff, yeah, it was all good and well, but it didn't take over the entire thing. But nowadays, the man, and secondly, the youth them nowadays to me just have too much frigging attitude. And I am not interested in being disrespected by any one of them, because if you're this, I got this back, plain and straight. I'm not, and firstly, I don't even want to put myself in the position to be disrespected by none of them for make me step out of character. You understand? Some rather just leave them. Oh, no, go and do nothing. Me there, so now I'm here do my thing. All right. So my point is, I had at the turn of the year, I say, you know what, I'm done with this production thing, or dancehall production, because I still intend to do reggae tracks. Because I love reggae, I'm going to play bass. So, and reggae now got change. So I say, freak dancehall, I'm done with dancehall. And I end up at Shaggy studio last week. And when I tell my brother, when I tell Robert laugh and say, Shaggy is very good at that. I tell Robert, say, I tell the DJ, I say, DJ, I'm done with dancehall, I'm not interested, And Shaggy give me a pep talk there. The man say, you can't make the man then discourage you. This is what you do, and it's not like you're an idiot. You know what you do. And you're good at what you do, so you got to stop just because of where you think the industry or whatever. And him say a bunch of other stuff. And I think about it, and I say, him right. Because at the end of the day, I can't make, certain things demotivate me. And after that conversation with him, I thought about it and I say, you know what? I'm going to try to tap into what made me start in the first place, which was, like what we spoke about at the beginning of this podcast, which was me just in it because I love it. I think over the years, you turn big man and you have responsibilities and the bills them come, you start Jano Saudi bill, I got pay, I got do this and do that. But when you're young and I do it, even if the bills them not pay, especially living in Jamaica, you do your thing and you love it and you just are going at it. And it will work because you have that joy. But when you're going to stuff depressed and cloudy, you will never succeed. So you have to approach it with that joy that you know, say, this me love and this me I do. So, me recant that friggin' something, man, but done with dancehall. I shall be back. I shall be doing it because last year I dropped the rhythm, 100% dancehall. And I want to tell you, again, going back to the conversation about how Shaggy talked to me and him never talked to me on the phone, being who he is. Me send the rhythm to Beenie Man. Me send it to Blue, actually, because Blue are Beenie Man second. Me send the rhythm to Blue and say, Blue, me have a track for Beenie Man, Let me know if the DJ liked that, if I got voice on it. Send it to him. A week later, Blue said, where email address? DJ Vice. Nothing. He not ask for no money. And from me, I work with Beenie Man from Moschino on number 1 days. Beenie Man never asked me for a cent, like an advance. He will get him royalties and something, but he never asked for an advance upfront for Vice yet. And I'm going to say it again. This is friggin' Beenie Man we are talking about.
Yeah.
You understand me? I say so. When some other man come in there, them to a bunch of other man, them either not respond or them a give me this big ground. I'm like, yo, who is Uno? You understand me? I say, and them thing validate me for talk how me talk because me I say, me not have to deal with Uno, you know. You understand me? I say, because Beenie man, Uno can say my old man something. Uno achieve what him achieve? No, shut up then. Shaggy, Uno achieve what Shaggy achieve? No, all right, don't talk to me then. You understand me? Uno achieve what me achieve because me a producer from when me and t.o.k. go conquer the world basically. And whatever. So uno not have no talk. So, you know.
Okay, so is it fair enough to say that you're not excited to work with some of the newer artists if they have an attitude where they're not willing to work also?
That's right. Because there's this one kid, me just love him vibe, and him just seem different. And I have not seen that attitude in him yet. In the Xantos, the guy with the Pesheng Weng Weng. So I haven't reached out to him or anything yet. But again, as a label A&R, me a scout, so me a check out to see which and which. But on a personal level, you know, when I see me say, oh, this could be the next one. And I might just reach out to him to do a project with personally, not label side, but personally, you know. But outside, I like him. Me like intense vibe, but I don't know him personally. And stories that I've heard about this crap of artists, all of them are problem so far. And I don't know for sure, but I'm just saying what I've heard. You can't be, listen, this is our 9 to 5. We're artists and musicians. This is our job. Part of your job is doing interviews. Part of your job is being seen by press and these things. So you can't say an artist and you don't know if you talk on TV, man. Come on. And you don't, nobody can coach you. You don't want techno coaching. Like me did like Ragging King. Ragging King have a bad sound and him have a bad vibe. But then when I see on TV, I'm like, somebody couldn't help him talk. And I know this, but you understand what I say? And Beenie and Killer used to have that problem that, you know, back in the day with talking, but them wasn't so bad as them young youth. All right, Killer problem was him did kind of use some bad grammar, like him, and him just use it. And a Killer that I would just love Killer and say, yeah, man, we know what you said. But then when the newer youth them say something, you know, it never even sound like it didn't make sense. Like when Killer them used to talk, we could understand. And the younger kids them now them more talk in a slangs and use a whole heap of slang. And come on, you like for instance, I watch on stage a lot. The first thing me hate is, and you see it with the inexperienced artists, most of them sit down, them are rocks from side to side. That's the first thing. And then them say, yeah man, you don't know, and watch. You not talks up on TV because it's not your friend them you're talking to. You talk to the world. But a lot of them don't understand, and you can't tell them this because they'll be offended. You know.
So you figure just leave yourself out of that situation. If there's somebody that comes along that's willing to work and you see that there's something in there, you'll do it. But besides that, I'm over here.
Yeah, man, 100%. 100%.
Crazy conversation. If they want to check out any of your work, tell them where they could find your work, where they could follow you and all that stuff there.
You can follow Shams the Producer at Shams the Producer, SHAMS THEPRODUCER, and that's for Facebook, Instagram. For Twitter, it's Shams the Pro. And I also have my website, shamstheproducer.com. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You can even find my catalog on my website where you just click and go through, and yeah.
Definitely. Shams, as I said, you see why I like talking to a producer. I like talking to everybody in it. I like the producers, the management, the artists, and all of that. But you see the producer now, you have a very unique vision where you get to see the artist from they walk in and say the first word till they walk out and say the last word. And then it's you as a producer to put that magic twist on it to make it sound polished where we hear it now.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, no, big Shams. Thank you so very much for this conversation. As I said before we started to record, I used to buy your records You understand? And see, oh, holy smokes, okay, Shams.
See,
Because I remember Shams was spelt with a dollar sign.
yes, call me Shams on that label. Yeah. I want to tell you, let me, I can't leave without saying this. I have to make the world know this, you know. So, working at Main Street, as I said before, I idolize Uncle Danny for production and stuff, but most of my mixing techniques and education, I shall say, came from Stephen Stanley, because Stephen Stanley did a lot of mixing sessions by Main Street. They mix a bunch of albums and stuff for some people, and I was always the house engineer that sat in on Stephen's session. And Stephen Stanley, for those who don't know, Stephen Stanley co-produced and mixed Tom Tom Club, Genius of Love.
What?
Stephen Stanley co-produced and mixed that song, and then Mariah Carey came back and did the song with Old DB, the same rhythm and everything. So Steve Stanley is responsible for that Mariah Carey song. If he never do the song with Tom Tom Club, then that song that wouldn't come out.
That's insane. And he's a thing there. He's from Jamaica, or he just came to Jamaica to do work?
I believe Steve is Jamaican, as far as I know, but they had in the side of CBS or something like that. But they were in the Bahamas, working from studio in the Bahamas with a lot of even Sly and Robbie and Grace Jones stuff. That's where they were doing a lot of the mixing and stuff. So Steve now my dupes, me learn a whole heap from my, ironically we born on the same day, July 11th.
That's you know what? Before I get you out here, there's one name that I didn't get to bring up, where I think this came later on in your career that you worked with him, Vybz Kartel.
Oh.
How did that come around?
Kartel, well, he was the hot man at the time. Well, him hot now, but yeah, you know what I mean. So them time, you know, I think from the Fear Factor Riddim, that was the first time I worked with him, and then when we did the Concubine Riddim, that was the second time. And then you mentioned him, funnily you mentioned that, I don't know if you link it back to the Genius I Love, but I remixed the Kartel on that same radio just mentioned. So yeah. We just get a number for him and call him, and him come and voice. And I mean, one thing we rate with Kartel though is that Kartel, him is just a brilliant lyricist. Put everything else aside, him is just a brilliant friggin' lyricist. Because him was the first song on Fear Factor. Okay, it was an alright song, but that never mash up made so much than when him do the one that I remix, which is the When Get a Youth Saga Rich. Because he came to the studio, once I played the rhythm, and him sit down with him book and him pencil. And within half an hour, him come up with that argument there, and that is what mashed me up. Cause him could have head tap any girl tune or whatever, but the man sit down and within half an hour come up with a song like that. When Get a Youth Saga Rich, when Friend I Go Stop Switch, when Weed I Go Legal, just how him construct that song in such a short space of time, for fit it on the rhythm there too, I was like, yo, that man is beyond lyrical, and it's not simple syllables, nor rhymes, nor argument him I use. Him very clever with him words, and that I want him in love with Kartel from then till now. Him not change that at all, you know. So them two, and the other thing I rate with him too is, even though I never really released that song there, when he did Why on Concubine Riddim, him they love the rhythm so much. Him said, "Shams, may I get a second song? Record this," and him just voice one another song same time.
That's wild.
Yep.
That's wild. Life of a producer, A&R management, just somebody that has such a big legacy. It's really great to sit down and talk to you, especially see it from your point of view. You understand? We know how we see it from our point, but I want to see it from your point. Yeah. You understand? Shams, epic conversation, big boss.
Give thanks, man.
Big up yourself. Thank you so very much for coming through. Let me give you an outro and get you out of here. All right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Muscle, and this has been another Two Line Music Cuts Entertainment Report podcast, and we are out. This podcast is brought to you by www.twolinesmusichut.com.